Hi, it's Paul, and today I'm an old man with the answer to a question that was left on the comments in one of my other videos, the one about the DeWalt Mitre saw. Question was from Marek. Hope I got your pronunciation of your name right, Marek. And it related to the adjustment of the angle measurement plate on the DeWalt. So let's have a look and I'll see if I can explain what I think Marek's issue is and what I think you might be able to do to fix it. Let's go see. Okay, so if I understand what Marek has told me correctly, what he's saying is that he's trying to adjust his mitre saw, and what you may know from your mitre saw is that it has locating points in parts of its movement to set it at 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 22.5, 0, whatever it might be. And on the plate, which is this, here's the angle marking plate, the gauge if you like, there are 3 screws which you can which you can loosen in order to adjust the plate. So if I loosen those screws, I can set it back into the 0 degree position, or the 90 degree position if you like, and I can move the plate from side to side. So what I'd then do is I'd put my mitre saw in the down position, lock it down in place, move the guard out of the way, put my square against the rear face, and I'd line the edge of the blade up so that I'd got a 90 degree cut. And if I just move the camera momentarily, you can see if I hold the square against the blade, you can see I've got quite a lot of adjustment there. What Marek is saying, incidentally, is that he's got 2 degrees of inaccuracy on his saw. Now, that sets out 90 degrees, but what Marek is saying, just move the camera back, the problem he's got on his saw is that if he adjusts the 90 correctly, when he puts the saw over to 45 degrees, and I'm just going to have to move the camera again, when he puts the saw over to 45 degrees and it locks in the detent or locating slot, it's not accurate, it's not 45 degrees. I can't get a decent angle on the camera, so you're going to have to take my word for it. I'll put it over the other way actually. I'll put the square in the back and I'll run it round to 45. So what Marek is saying is when he does that on the 45s, it's not accurate, even though it's accurate on the 90 degree angle. Now, when I first got my saw, mine was exactly the same, or at least I thought that was the case, but I then found out that the combination square I was using was actually about 4 degrees out. It was bent, crazy, it was brand new. So I threw it away, got this out. I've also got a Barco tri-square, and I checked it with both of them, and then my one sat correct on all 3 situations. So the 90, the 45, the 45. So to recap, Marek's situation is he sets his saw on the angle like this, screws the plate down. He moves it to 45, it's 2 degrees out. He moves it to 45, the other way it's 2 degrees out. Now what I don't know is if it's 2 degrees in the same direction out, or whether it's 2 degrees rearward or forward out. So whether it's 2 degrees this way on this side and this way on the other side, or towards the back. That much I don't know. Marek hasn't put that in the comment, not a complaint, just a point I'm making. So what else could you possibly do? Well, I've got to be honest, apart from in the 0, or if you like 90 degree position, I actually don't like having the set functions, because I find that most of the Mitre work I'm doing isn't on absolute 45s or absolute 30s or absolute anything. I much prefer to be able to set the saw backwards and forwards and then clamp it with the clamp that's underneath. That's the way I like to work. So apart from the central 90 degree position, personally I could actually do without all the holes, so I would take off the plate and throw it in the bin and use the saw without the plate and just use the clamping screw, which is down here. So to explain that, I would set my saw in whichever position and I'd then clamp it with this, and that would do me. But if you want to use the 90s and the 45s, are there any other things you can do? Well, the only other thing I can suggest, and it's never going to be greatly accurate, I'll be honest, because of the pin positions in the plate, but if you can get to the point where the central screw position is okay, but the other two positions aren't, then what you could do, you could file slots or enlarge the holes that the two end screws go into, and you could move the entire gauge, either rock it from side to side or move the whole thing backwards and forwards, because on this one, if you move the whole gauge outward, then it's still going to stay at 90 degrees. These two, if you move the gauge this way, it's going to bring your 45 degree angle in towards you, and if you move it on the other side, the same, it's going to bring the 45 degree angle towards you. I've no intention of filing chunks out of my own personal gauge, because this one's actually quite accurate. However, it might give you some sort of get out from a bad situation. As I said to Marek in the comments, to be honest, if you can take the saw back, if it's that inaccurate, if you can take the saw back, then do so. Chuck it back at the supplier and say, look, this is no good, give me another one. He asked, is it a common thing on the DeWalt? I would say no, I've not seen that situation anywhere else. I've seen a couple of other people that use the same saw without any issues. Gid Joiner uses the same machine. He's got a video on how to set it up. I think I can put a link in the description. But as I say, generally I think the DeWalt is okay. So I'm assuming if Marek has the same saw and has these issues, then he's got a duff saw and it really needs to go back. But if it's too late to do that, or if for instance something diabolical has happened, like you've dropped the saw on the floor and something's bent or whatever, then you could either, as I say, do away with the plate completely and just rely on the clamp, or move the plate forwards and backwards and see if you can get your angle adjustment on that before you move the plate so far that the pins won't go in the hole. So Marek, hope that's been of some use to you. Anybody else, hope it's been some use to you. If it has, please stick a comment below, like, subscribe. If you've got other questions, by all means ask them, I will try and answer. Check out oldmanwith.com on the interweb. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one, bye.